Hi, I'm doing a quick video before bed because I won't go into the monotheism of Judaism and the henotheism, polytheism type deal, because that line's pretty blurred and people get this idea that the monotheism of Judaism is exactly like Christianity, and it's not. Christianity has three gods with separate minds, but come from one source. There's one essence to all three, which is henotheism, which is a term that was invented to describe Hindus, because a lot of Hindus believe that all gods have one source. A lot of them believe that the different gods are incarnations or avatars of the one true God. And they couldn't really call this polytheism. And they didn't want to call it monotheism. So they invented the term henotheism and said, well, henotheism is a subset. It's like early monotheism. Now, I don't agree with that, particularly because we call Christians monotheist, and Christians have three gods in one. They've got separate minds. One knows things the other doesn't. That's really not monotheism as the Jews see it. And I don't think that the Hinduism leads to monotheism as the Jews see it. The way you can look at some of the things that are said in Judaism, and they've been looked at this way throughout the history of the Kabbalah, you can look at some of the statements. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. You can look at that and say, Hear, O Israel, God is your God. God is all, instead of one, meaning one in the absence of all other numbers. The God of Judaism, or at least the Kabbalistic Ein Sof, is unity of everything. It's one. God is one. And I want to read part of a 13th century text, 13th century Jewish text. God is unified oneness, one without two, inestimable. Genuine divine existence engenders the existence of all of creation. The sublime inner essences secretly constitute a chain linking everything from the highest to the lowest, extending from the upper pool to the edge of the universe. There is nothing, not even the tiniest thing, that is not fastened to the links of this chain. Everything is catenated in its mystery, caught in its oneness. God is one, God's secret is one, all the worlds below and above are all mysteriously one. Divine existence is indivisible. The entire chain is one. Down to the last link, everything is linked with everything else. So divine essence is below as well as above, in heaven as on earth. There is nothing else. Each of us emerges from the Ein Sof and is included in it. We live through its dissemination. It is a perpetuation of existence. The fact that we sustain ourselves on vegetation and animal life does not mean that we are nourished on something outside of it. This process is like a revolving wheel, first descending then ascending. It is all one and the same. Nothing is separate from it. Though life branches out further and further, everything is joined to Ein Sof, included and abiding in it. Delve into this. Flashes of intuition will come and go, and you will discover a secret here. If you are deserving, you will understand the mystery of God on your own. And if you read that, you see that we are God. I am God, you are God. Everybody is God. We're all facets of the divine. We're all little particles taken together with everything else in existence, which constitutes God. God is the source of all, the wellspring of existence. Everything is God. There is nothing else. I think I've read before where it says, Are we to say the stone isn't God? God forbid. That's duality. Of course the stone is God. So there's this idea that God is the unity of existence. Nothing exists outside of God. Ein Sof, unlimited, unbounded. It's all God. And this is particularly relevant because we just finished Yom Kippur. I just broke my fast, this evening. So it's particularly relevant because during the days of awe, we start thinking about our actions, how we've treated others and such. And we fast on Yom Kippur and we think about the people who don't have food, and they don't have a lot of things, and it renews us and refreshes us to help our fellow man. And the thing to think about as far as how it relates to this is that fellow person is God. And how you treat that person is how you're treating God. Of course, you're God too. And so's the next guy. Everything is God. You can think of the ocean. You've got salt, you've got water, you've got all these different creatures in it. You've got sand, trash, seaweed, whatever else. All of this in the ocean. But you can still think of the ocean as a unity. That's how we look at God as Ein Sof. God is a unity of everything. I like to say God is the sum total of all existence and then some. That's my little phrase I made up. I like it a lot. But the idea is that God is everything. God is in everything. The material of creation was God. God had nothing else to work with, and he created using himself. The idea is Zimzum. God was all. So God withdrew himself from a point and created like a circle. And then he flooded back into that circle as creation. So there's never a point you can get to and say, okay, I'm God, this person's God, but that isn't God. God is one. God is all. God is everything. So how you treat the person next to you is how you're treating God. How you treat the planet is how you're treating God. We tend to think of spiritual things as separate from physical things, but really it's all blended together. And that person that made you mad, is God. And people say, well, God can't war with himself. God can't, go into conflict with himself. Of course he can. We have wars all the time. We kill each other. Nations have battles, bloody battles with each other. Whole civilizations rise up, east against west, and, Muslim against Christian. God is warring with himself. And it's because we don't understand that not only is God present in me, but God is present in that person as well, because we forget that and we sort of cut ourselves off from them and know I'm nothing like this person and this person is evil. And then in that division, we allow ourselves to hate that person, to demonize that person, and to attack that person. And our devotion should really include how we treat the person next to us, how we treat the planet, because God is one. There's a verse in Deuteronomy where God says, beside me there is none else. But the words for none else, ein od, can also be translated as nothing else. And now that we finished up these 10 days of awe, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that's been heavily in my mind, is that all of existence is God, and it all flows back to God, and God is unity. And through forgetting that we are God and the other person is God, then God fights among himself. And hopefully one day humanity can break down those barriers and realize the next person over, even if he believes differently than you or does something differently than you, is a facet of the divine, is a particle of God. And how you treat that person is how you're directly treating God. Thanks, I hope I didn't ramble too much.